What is going on, guys? What up, what up, what up? As you can tell, I am on the new bike. It may or may not be a new surprise to you guys. I'm not sure if I'll have the reveal done in time. I'm trying to wait for the gimbal that I ordered to come in, and I wanted to have that so I could do the reveal with, so it's nice and clean. The gimbal I bought was Chinese, Zion or something like that, so it's shipping out of Hong Kong or something, and it's just taking its good sweet time to get here. So I figured I can't wait on content because I want to keep getting you guys content. So I kind of just wanted to talk to you a little bit about why I chose to go back to the Superbike that I am on currently. Not necessarily this specific Superbike, but why I decided to go back to a Superbike. And I guess I can also talk a little bit about why I chose this specific Superbike as the bike of my choosing. So let's go ahead and roll into the intro. Alright, for those who don't already know, this is a 2008 GSX-R 1000. Full upgrade list on it. Currently, I've got, obviously the Chinese shorty levers. Not sure I'm a fan with the blue. Comes with a full Two Brothers exhaust with Power Commander 5 for remapping. This bike specifically comes with the gear indicator. Comes with 3 different modes, A, B, and C modes. Haven't really played around with B and C modes because why? I love the Z1000. Nothing wrong with that bike. It was a phenomenal bike for the street. It really was. It was plenty fast to hit the corners with. But there were some reasons why I switched back to the Superbike. Number one is of my age. I'm still young enough at 31 where a sport bike isn't gonna kill me. I'm not sore after long periods of times. I'm 6'1" with a 6'4" wingspan, so I've got rather long arms. I'm kind of lanky per se, so reaching down the little extra distance for the clip-ons as opposed to regular handlebars is easy for me and doesn't hurt my back too much. But why did I switch back to the Superbike? The power, of course. I just love to have the power even if I don't use it. You know what I mean? It's nice to be able to just rip on the throttle and know, not that I would ever go this fast. To know that I could do 160, 170 mile an hour on this thing. I'd rather have it and not use it than need it and not have it per se. Now, that's not saying that I would have ever been in trouble with the Z1000 because I wouldn't have. But I want to start doing track days, and let's just be honest, it's more fun on a sport bike than it is on a naked on the track. Why? Because they're aerodynamic. You can get behind the wind. You can get underneath the wind. Instead of you fighting the wind, it'll fight the wind for you. But most importantly is on the Z1000, again, when you're doing speeds, I would say 90 or 100 plus, it's a chore because you're fighting that wind. You have no protection from the wind, so you're fighting it constantly, and it just makes it, it tires you out quicker than you would if you were on a sport bike where you could tuck in behind, or at least the aerodynamics for the most part. And I was ready to, I've always wanted to go back to a full sport bike, even when I had the Z1000. I was always talking about getting an R1 or another ZX10. Never really considered the Gixxer or the CBR 1000, and I don't know why. I mean, never ever did I consider a BMW S1000, an Aprilia. In my personal experience, A, they're harder to work on. B, I don't feel that they're as reliable as the Japanese sport bikes are. I ride. I need a reliable bike. I need a bike that I can easily work on, not something that's being difficult because they want to be difficult just to be difficult. So that's why I stuck with Japanese. Now, why did I go with the Gixxer, you may ask? Well, it wasn't my first choice, I'll be completely honest with you. I went to the dealership because they had an R1 on stock for a very good price, a 2006 Raven with only like 10,000 miles on it, 11,000 miles on it. Let's see what we got here. Is it a VFR? FJR. I went up there because of the R1. I was very disappointed because they ended up not having the R1 for sale. It had already sold before it even hit the showroom floor. So I was a little disappointed about that because I really wanted to try it. I wanted to move to basically an R1. I wanted to try it because I've tried, as you know, I've had a Suzuki in the past. I've had a Kawasaki, multiple Kawasaki's in the past. So I wanted to try Yamaha because I've heard good things about Yamaha. I mean, Yamaha I've heard is probably one of the probably the best manufacturer out there for Japanese, in my opinion. But they didn't have it. They had another R1 in there. That's the only other R1 they had, and they couldn't sell it to me because they were having titling issues. They said it was a clean title, but they just had titling issues. They were unable to sell it until they worked out the issues. And then I considered buying a brand new ZX10, a 2000 and, well, not brand new, not the new year 2017 or 16, but they had a brand new leftover from last year, 2015, that they were going to sell me. They just didn't have any in stock, so it was something they were going to have to order and then have shipped to the dealership. And I wasn't too keen on that because A, I was going to trade in my old bike as part of the down payment, and I didn't want to go, you know, however long it was going to take for them to get a new bike shipped out without a bike. Now I have the Ninja 250 that my girlfriend, that if I had like the absolute urge, I could ride, and that's kind of where I was at. Like, yeah, whatever, you know, if that happens, I can do that. So this bike, that actually, when I went to the dealership, it had a sold sticker on it, so I didn't even look at this bike. And we looked through all the other options. After going through the 2015 numbers, I was crunching some stuff, you know, with the warranty. I wanted them to add an exhaust because I didn't want the stock exhaust, so I had to have them include that. Go through all the process and just crunch the numbers for me. And I just didn't want that kind of payment on a motorcycle. I just didn't. I was like, you know what? No, I don't want to spend that much money a month. And then when I priced insurance with financing a motorcycle, they require you to have like the certain coverage insurance. It was like, for me, it was like $2,000 a year. So it was like another $160, $170 a month in insurance on top of the payment. And I was like, yeah, you know, I have no payment. Right now I pay $46 a month, full coverage insurance with like $200 deductible, $250 deductible, and like pretty good coverages. And that's all I have. I have no payment. You know, do I want to pick up another payment? So after considering that, I was like, you know what, I'm not sure I want to do that. Then, you know, he was starting to panic because he knew I really wanted to buy a bike, and he thought he was going to easily sell me a bike, which I was down. Then they came back with what they were going to give me on my bike, and it was about $500 less than we had kind of agreed on already. And not because there was any flaws in the bike, it's just he went to his manager with some numbers, and the manager came back and said, no, we can only offer him this, without even looking at the bike. So I guess that guy was just a little high. Now, my number was a little higher than what KBB and NADA was at, but it was because I had the Corbin seats and some other add-ons with it, so I was trying to have them include that. Otherwise, I wasn't going to include the Corbin seats and then sell those afterwards. He started to panic when he wasn't able to sell me that bike. So I'm like, just relax. So then he tried to sell me R6s in anniversary colors and ZX6Rs brand new, and I'm like, you know, I'm not ready. I don't want to go back to a 600. Otherwise, I'll just keep the Z1000. As he was starting to panic, you know, he was trying to work out getting me a deal on the ZX10 and see if he could cut the price down and get me into a range that I was more comfortable paying. When he walked back, he said, hey man, that Gixxer up there, they just took the sold sticker off it. Financing must have fell through for the guy or something, or the guy must have backed out on the deal. Would you be interested? And I'm gonna be honest with you, when I was a kid growing up, I bought up, my very first bike was a Suzuki SV650. And so I was a kind of a Suzuki guy. I didn't know much about motorbikes, nothing, you know, nothing against Suzuki by any stretch. But I was, you know, after learning, I learned that, you know, just some of the other Japanese brands were a little more refined in how they made motorcycles. So I never really considered a Gixxer before, but he's like, why don't you just sit on it? We'll turn it on, you can hear it, you can see what it's got, I'll explain what it's got, and I'll tell you, we can work on your price with you. So I sat down and I turned it on, and I like the gauges. I like that it has modes if, you know, if ever I want to be more economical, which I don't know why you would ride a GSX-R 1000 to be economical, but in case I did. And I just liked that it had that functionality. I had rode the weekend before with 650 Eve in one of my videos in the past, going to Cars and Coffee, and Stunaway had this exact same bike, a 2008 GSX-R 1000 in this exact color, which is kind of funny. So I had seen what it can do, how fast it is. And I'm like, you know what? I could do this. I could rock a Gixxer. The price they had, it was a little high, so I worked them down on the price a little bit, and I said, you know, I'll make you a deal. You guys took $500 off of the price of my trade-in. Come down another $250. Meet me in the middle, and we got a deal. And so he did. He crunched the numbers down another 250 bucks. You know, and now I don't have to carry full coverage, because that was another thing that I was worried about with the Gixxer, because I know the Gixxers are so pricey with insurance because they're the #1 rated wrecked and stolen motorcycles, because you know, there's an association with Gixxers with squids, guys who get their first motorcycle and go out there and are stupid and total a motorcycle within 3 days of having a Gixxer. You can turn left. Yeah. You can turn left on red here. I didn't know. Okay, just letting you know. So he worked the price down, like I said, for 250 bucks down. Just kind of meet me in the middle with the trade-in. And I was able to get everything else together and pay for the bike. So it worked out in my benefit. I really love this motorcycle. It is unreal how fast it is with the new mapping, with the full exhaust. I'm assuming it probably has a race filter because of all the other mods that he's done to it. Seems like he's really tried to beef it up. There's a freaking turn lane for a reason, guy. And we're gonna miss this light because of it. She's not gonna realize. Oh no, she did. And here I am on the Gixxer 1000. Like I said, I'm not sure about the blue. It kind of does accent a little bit. It's got some blue, I want to say some sort of cap for the brake fluid bleeders, so it kind of matches that. Now it does have LED lights installed, triggered to an alarm remote. I'm not a fan of that, but you know, again, it's all hidden, so you can't see it. So I will never, you know, I'll never have to use it. And I don't know, maybe at nighttime I may turn it on, see what it's like. Who knows? It came with it, whatever. It was included. You know, I like how the tank protector's done. It's done really perfect. Everything on this bike is just done clean. But I am headed to my buddy's right now just to go through the bike. I smell a little bit of coolant. Like when I sit and it gets hot and the coolant starts to flow, I smell it. So I think it may be leaking. I checked the levels and it hasn't gone down. So if it is leaking, it's a very, 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 very slow. I know the fluid for the hydraulic clutch definitely needs changed and flushed. We're going to do that. At the same time, I mean, it's the same fluid, so I'll just change the brake fluid out as well. As we look for the coolant link, we'll see if it needs flushed or just, you know, whatever. If it does, if we'll do that as well. I got some coolant with me. Just some advantages of this, and instead of buying the brand new bike, I didn't get the warranty, unfortunately, because it's a used bike. So that's the only downside to not buying new, was I would have got the 3-year unlimited mile warranty with it. But I didn't have to buy an exhaust, didn't have to buy a power commander, didn't have to buy shorty levers. I mean, all that stuff is quite expensive, so, you know, if little things happen to the motorcycle, I can fix that, you know. But it came from a dealer, so they've done their research, and they did their testing to make sure that they're not sending any guys out on a lemon. The chain was really dirty, so I cleaned that up already, which you guys probably saw in a previous video on the time lapse. I really love the gear indicator. I've always wanted one. It's just nice when you're on the track to know what gear you're in. You're not always searching for a 6th, 7th gear. But man, I love being back on a Superbike. It's so comfortable. The hydraulic clutch is so smooth, it's so nice. I love that feature. I think it's got a built-in steering damper down there. I haven't had an opportunity to go through the entire bike, which we're gonna do tonight, and just kind of make sure everything's kosher, set up my suspension so that we're ready to go for having some fun. But alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video because I am rolling up to my buddy's house now. Hopefully you guys like the new bike. Should be able to keep up a little better if I ride with 650E, but those guys also should be some funner times on the track as well. But thanks for watching, guys. Remember, stay safe on the roads out there. Keep that rubber side down. And until the next video, we'll see you guys later.